The Arizona sun bled across the horizon, throwing long shadows over the Thornton ranch. Inside the kitchen, Sarah Dawson wrapped bits of bread and pork in a cloth bundle, her hands trembling from fatigue. The golden light caught the strain in her face, a woman too proud to beg, too weary to rest. Jacob Thornton stood by the doorway, a pouch of coins in hand. "Mrs. Dawson, your wages," he said softly. She startled, clutching her bundle like a secret. He noticed her uneaten plate, the faint tremor in her voice. "Taking food home?" he asked. "For my boy, Tommy," she replied quickly. "Growing boys, you know." Jacob nodded, though unease stirred beneath his calm. He watched her leave, her figure small against the burning sky dot as the light faded and the wind rose. Jacob muttered under his breath, "Something's not right." Then he grabbed his hat and followed her into the dusk. The dusk deepened into violet as Sarah walked the lonely road, her canvas bag heavy with food. Wind carried the smell of dust and sage. Behind her, unseen, Jacob followed on horseback, his lantern flickering like a restless star. When Sarah reached the edge of Red Creek Valley, the land changed. A broken cabin crouched against the night, its walls patched with hope and desperation. From the dim firelight, children's laughter echoed, thin, tired, but alive. Jacob dismounted quietly, hiding behind a rocky ledge. He watched as Sarah called out, "Line up, everyone. There's plenty tonight." One by one, a dozen ragged orphans appeared, faces shining with trust. She served them first, saving nothing for herself. A small boy tugged her dress. "Mama, aren't you eating?" "I ate earlier, Tommy. Share with any." Jacob's breath caught. That frail woman was feeding the valley's forgotten. He turned away, shaken to his core. The stars stretched wide across the Arizona sky as Jacob rode back toward the ranch, his thoughts heavier than his saddle. The image of Sarah and those starving children haunted him. A woman giving everything she had while the world turned blind. Inside his study, the lamplight burned low, throwing restless shadows across ledgers and maps. Jacob paced, jaw tight. "She's starving herself." "For them," he whispered, voice trembling with disbelief. At dawn, he strode into town, boots striking hard against the wooden walk. In Martha Green's general store, the smell of flour and coffee filled the air. "Martha," he said quietly, "tell me about Sarah Dawson." The shopkeeper sighed. "Buys only what she must. Tried to sell her wedding ring last month. Feeds those orphans more than herself." Jacob felt the truth settle deep, heavy, undeniable. "She'll die if no one helps," Martha said. Jacob nodded grimly. "Then someone will." Morning light spilled through Doc Henderson's window, painting dust motes in gold. The old doctor sipped his coffee, grumbling at his ledger, when Jacob burst through the door. Hat in hand, "Sarah Dawson," Jacob said, breathless. "How bad is it?" Doc frowned. "Malnutrition, fainting spells, tremors. Told her to rest. Might as well tell the river to stop flowing. That woman gives her food away. Boy's sickly too." Jacob clenched his fists. "Why didn't she tell anyone?" "Pride," the doctor muttered. "Same reason good people die quiet." Jacob's eyes hardened. "Send me their bills. Her medicine, Tommy's too. She won't take charity," Doc warned. Jacob's voice dropped low. "Then she won't know it's charity." He stepped into the sunlight, the wind whipping his coat. The ranch spread wide before him, waiting. Somewhere beyond those hills, a woman was sacrificing everything, and Jacob Thornton swore that day she wouldn't do it alone. 2 weeks later, the Thornton ranch buzzed with quiet purpose. Hammers rang, sawdust flew, and a small cottage near the orchard took shape. Sturdy walls, clean windows, a new stove gleaming inside. Jacob stood beside Buck Wilson, his loyal foreman, surveying the work. "You bought this place for Mrs. Dawson, didn't you?" Buck asked, wiping sweat from his brow. Jacob gave a faint smile. "I need a full-time cook. Fair wage, proper housing. No charity, just good business." Buck chuckled. "You sure have a strange way of doing business, boss." "Maybe the right way," Jacob said. When the sun dipped low, Sarah scrubbed dishes in the ranch kitchen, thinner than ever. Jacob appeared at the doorway. "Mrs. Dawson, might I have a word?" She followed him to his study, uncertain. He laid out papers, eyes steady. "A proposition, Mrs. Dawson. Work full-time here, $40 a month. And a cottage for you and your boy? Sarah sat stiffly in Jacob's study, hands folded in her lap. The offer sounded like a dream, yet dreams were dangerous things for people like her. That's too generous, Mr. Thornton, she murmured. Jacob leaned forward. You'd earn every penny. My men waste food. I need someone capable. You'd have a home, proper meals, safety for Tommy. No favors, just work. Her throat tightened. You followed me that night, she whispered. Jacob didn't deny it. I was worried. I saw what you're doing, Sarah. You're saving lives. He led her to the newly built cottage. Sunlight streamed through clean windows. The scent of pine filled the air. Tommy's small room glowed with a quilt, books, and hope. Sarah's eyes brimmed with tears. I don't know what to say. Say yes, Jacob replied gently. You've earned it. She looked around, trembling. Then yes. I'll work hard every day. Welcome home, Jacob said softly. 3 days later, Sarah and Tommy arrived at the cottage with a rickety wagon piled high with worn boxes and patched quilts. The sun shone bright over Red Creek Valley, gilding the grass and fences in warm gold. Tommy ran ahead, eyes wide. Mama, is this ours? Sarah smiled, tears threatening. It is, sweetheart. We'll earn every bit of it. Inside, the smell of new wood and fresh bread lingered. Jacob had left a note on the table. Welcome to your new post. Beneath it lay a Bible and a pouch of seeds. As she unpacked, the sound of ranch hands laughing drifted through the fields. The ranch no longer felt like someone else's world. It felt possible, like a door opening. Sarah stepped outside, the valley spreading wide before her. For the first time in years, she didn't feel alone. The wind whispered through the cottonwoods, carrying the promise of change. Weeks passed beneath the Arizona sun. The ranch changed, and so did Sarah, each dawn. Smoke curled from her chimney as the scent of biscuits and roast filled the air. Ranch hands gathered, laughing over hearty meals. Jacob often watched from a distance, his quiet pride hidden behind a sip of coffee. Sarah's cheeks regained color, her eyes a spark of life. Tommy rode to school in the supply wagon, returning dusty and smiling. Evenings found Sarah in her garden, humming as she tended beans and corn. The valley glowing amber round her. One afternoon, she met with Reverend Hale at the small church. These children need more than bread, she told him. Soon, the church hall bustled with orphans sharing hot meals and laughter. At the ranch office, Jacob signed documents, the children's fund of Red Creek Valley. The valley, once hard and hungry, began to breathe again. Evening light bathed the cottage in soft gold. Sarah knelt in her garden, brushing soil from her hands as Jacob approached from the path. His hat tipped low. The air smelled of earth and lilac. Settling in? He asked. Sarah smiled faintly. Not a single problem. I'll never repay what you've done. Jacob shook his head. You already have. You reminded this ranch what caring looks like. They walked toward the porch as the sun dipped low, painting the hills in crimson light. Inside, Tommy read aloud by lamplight, his voice steady and clear. I feel like I'm dreaming. Sarah whispered. Jacob looked out across the valley. It's real, and it's only getting better. For a long moment, neither spoke. The sound of crickets rose, soft and steady. In that quiet, Jacob saw not just gratitude in her eyes, but strength, the kind that could rebuild an entire valley. 6 months later, the valley shimmered beneath a honeyed sunset. Long tables stretched under cottonwoods, set with roasted game, bread, and pies. Families, ranch hands, and children gathered, laughter rising with the evening wind. Sarah moved among them, apron dusted with flour, eyes shining with quiet pride. Tommy chased friends across the grass, his laughter echoing through the dusk. On the porch, Jacob stood beside Buck Wilson, surveying the feast. You changed the valley, boss, Buck said. Jacob smiled. Sarah did. I just gave her the chance. When Sarah called him forward, the crowd hushed. Jacob's voice carried strong and steady. 6 months ago, one woman with nothing gave everything. Sarah Dawson reminded us what truly matters, not gold, not land, but kindness. Applause swelled. Lanterns flickered as the sun sank behind the hills. Jacob looked out over Red Creek Valley and whispered, the best investment is people. And the valley glowed alive. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, Share and subscribe for more tales from the Wild West. Join our saddle and subscribe. More courage, love, and frontier stories ride your way every week.